Ari, a classic Big Ten matchup. I know you grew up loving these Oregon, Iowa late season Big Ten. Wait, no, this is so weird. Oregon's going to Iowa in a game that has college football playoff implications, and it's a conference game. It's a Big Ten conference game. I'm sorry. I know they've been in the same league now. This is the second year, but this is going to take me a while to get used to.
Yeah, it is, because to me, the Big Ten West versus the high-flying West Coast offense is the most conflicting style type situation that there is, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, Oklahoma and Texas, it was kind of a bizarre thing to have them in the SEC, but like at least they kind of just blended right in with what you come to expect from that conference. Like Iowa and Oregon are polar opposites in every way. Iowa wears the same exact uniforms every week.
That's
Oregon,
not true. They occasionally put the American flag in the Tiger Hawk.
Why do they do that? Isn't that like, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, they do that. I mean, that's also a pretty gnarly change they did there. Like whoever came up with that's pretty sharp designer. But you get the point. Oregon wears different uniforms every week. Iowa's more traditional. Oregon scores 500 points a game typically, and Iowa likes to bring you into the Big Ten West hell. With the spirit of that still exists, by the way. Obviously, parts of the country are much different. It's the Midwestern Corn Belt, the way that, the Big Ten West has kind of hung its hat on and used as like a personality definer. Oregon's just like the new kid on the block that's trying to do things right.
I love how like Big Ten West means something to a college football fan. Like when you say Big Ten West, you know exactly what you're looking at.
It's spirit.
But the actual Western wing of the Big Ten now is Oregon, USC, Washington, which play a more wide open brand of football.
One team's got a top 5 NIL budget and is existing to try to win national championships. The other team is trying to do it the old fashioned blue collar way. Like they're exact opposites. And they find themselves in a cross section of a November 8th game that can help determine how the Big Ten race and maybe even the college football playoff race winds up. And I think that's pretty exciting, kind of cool. Like, and you're always the guy who says styles make fights. Well, which fight's this one going to be?
So I go back to when Indiana went to Kinnick Stadium early in the season, and I think we came out of that game thinking, oh, this is Indiana's stinker.
Mm-hmm.
This is Indiana not playing well. They finally, had a bad game against a team they should beat. I don't feel that way anymore. Watching Iowa the rest of the season, I feel like Indiana ran into a really good team, survived that game, and then went back to just destroying the truly inferior opponents. Iowa's not that. And especially if you look at the way they've played since then. So only a 1-point win against Penn State, but Penn State, obviously, from an athletic standpoint, similar to Oregon, similar to Ohio State. They beat Wisconsin 37-0. They beat Minnesota 41-3. Now that was Minnesota minus Darius Taylor. I realize this is a different team, but this team looks like it can hang with that level of team. And we saw it against Indiana. We saw it in the win against Penn State. They're not going to be out-athleted, like simply out-athleted, which is what used to happen to Iowa. Like I would win 10 games, wind up in the Big Ten championship game, and then Michigan or Ohio State's athletes would just annihilate them. I don't think they're getting out-athleted.
Well, I think that the out-athleted thing will manifest in whether Oregon can drag Iowa into the type of game that Oregon wants to play.
Yeah.
Oregon is going to want to score a ton, obviously, and, make this a higher scoring type, faster pace type game. And what Iowa was able to do with Indiana when they came into town, 3 games ago was make it a lower scoring game. They were in the 20s in the fourth quarter, and Indiana, who's, been accustomed to dropping 50 burgers on everybody they play, wasn't really in their element. So I wonder, can they make this a 31, 28, 24 type game?
Which Wisconsin did to Oregon, by the way.
Yeah.
Wisconsin just did this to Oregon, and Wisconsin, remember.
Worse than Iowa.
Yeah, remember, Iowa went to Wisconsin and dump truck them. So, and we're not going to transitive property this one. Obviously, I think Oregon has a very good chance of winning this game.
Also, transitive property in this type of scenario, I think, is like the worst time to do it too, because who knows what's going to happen? And I feel like 2 games like this could be completely different.
Yeah,
I don't know, but you have been higher on Iowa in you recognize them as a playoff
because they're more
faster.
functional than they have been, and because we're used to Iowa winning 9 or 10 games, but not really being that good. It's being a function of schedule. It's not so much a function of schedule this year. Like one of their 2 losses is Iowa State. They should have won that game. Like they should feel terrible about losing that game.
Yeah.
So I think Iowa has gotten considerably better as the season has gone on. Mark Gronowski is playing much better as the season has gone on. I want to give you a stat, Ari, because I love points per drive. It's one of my favorite stats, and basically it means how many drives do you have that in non-garbage time, and how many points do you score off of each one. So Iowa's at 2.5 points per drive, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 47th in the country. 2 years ago under Brian Ferentz, they were 132nd in the country in points per drive. So they are a functional offense now. And what do we always say? If Iowa could have a functional offense to go along with its elite defense and its elite special teams, Iowa is a scary team. Guess what? That Iowa is here.
Yeah. Well, Iowa's defense isn't nearly as good as it was 2 years ago either, right? But, that's
like going from number 1 in the country to number 12 in the country.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm with you. So I think that this is interesting because Oregon, the only blemish on their resume is a 10-point loss at home to Indiana. Mm-hmm. And ever since that happened, they have, in my opinion, kind of vanished from the national discourse.
Correct.
And I don't know if that's just because, that's a byproduct of the general public not being able to acknowledge or accept that Indiana's a legit team. But if Oregon lost to Ohio State by 10 at home, I still think that they would be talked about more as a national title contender. I think that Oregon is every bit as much of a national title contender as the 4 or 5 teams that are ahead of them in the polls. And those teams are like the Ole Misses and the Alabamas. Yeah. And I don't know. They haven't done it the way that Alabama has. Alabama's the most proven one in terms of the teams that they've beaten.
That's the problem.
But what's the discernible difference between Ole Miss and Oregon? Probably nothing.
And I was talking about that with somebody else today, and we're talking about where do you rank them? Where's the college football playoff committee going to rank them on Tuesday?
Which happens on Tuesday.
Yeah, it happens on Tuesday. I don't think it matters where you put Ole Miss and Oregon. I feel like just flip flop them. It doesn't. They're kind of the same because neither one's got a great schedule. They both lost to the best team they played. And
they both control their own destiny to the CFP without controlling their own destiny in the – wait, I don't know. Does Ole Miss control their own destiny in the SEC race? They don't, do they?
They don't because they lost to Georgia.
So. Kind of in the same exact boat, but it doesn't matter. Like you said, 6-7, right?
Yeah. Oh, God, you did it.
But it was like
it's true. It's true. That's kind of where they are. Yeah,
literally
you're right.
6-7.
You're right.
I don't know.
So the reason I think Oregon's disappeared from the national discourse is not any fault of Oregon's. They played Rutgers in Wisconsin, and those were games that we knew they'd win. Now the Wisconsin game was tougher than it should have been, but I think that's the thing. I looked at it like, okay, I'll pick up Oregon again when they're playing Iowa and USC and Washington, which is now.
Yeah, that's now. So this is it though, because what Iowa will be put to the test at home. And the fact that this game's in Iowa City, I think, changes the dynamic of that a little bit. But if Iowa is a legit team that can scare somebody or at least be in the national discourse moving forward, this is where it shows up. There's no more, mulligans. There's no more Iowa States that you can just kind of look past. They're playing well right now. If you can play with Oregon or beat Oregon, then your entire viewpoint as a program changes.
Yeah. And then, so Oregon, what they're going to need to do is jump on Iowa, put some points on the board early. And when you do that, Iowa's not built to come back. Mm-hmm. They are not built. They need to drag you into the pits of hell early. So this is where Dante Moore and company just need to come out and be humming. Now, I'll go back to the Wisconsin game. Dante Moore, 9 of 15, 86 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt. That is playing the way Iowa would like you to play. Don't play that way.
Yeah. And maybe Wisconsin is just Oregon kryptonite. I don't know, Badgers.
Yeah, because they did the same thing to Oregon last year.
Yeah, Badgers, Ducks. I don't know where that goes on the
I'll take a Badger against an actual duck most times. Yeah.
What's it called? The in nature,
the food chain. Yeah. The Badger's higher.
I don't know if there's anything there, but these are both birds.
That's true.
Then I would also take a hawk.
One bird's a lot more terrifying than the other.
So I don't know. Food
There's
chain,
your advanced analysis right there.
Yeah. styles make fights. We just don't know what fight it's going to be. And I think that, the measure of a good team is whether you can drag the opponent that plays a very different style into your type of game. And if Oregon can jump on them early, I think
I know everybody gets tired of me going to rushing yards per game per carry during games as a go-to stat, but I really feel like it's a telling stat. And Oregon was 4.5 yards a carry, 45 yards for 203 or 45 carries for 203 yards against Wisconsin. It's pretty good, but it's the reason they didn't blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
If that number is closer to 6, then they're blowing them out. And it was 2.7 yards a carry against Indiana, 4.5 against Penn State. These are their tough games. These are the tough games that Oregon's played. So if Iowa is keeping them under 4 yards a carry, we're going to see an Iowa game. And Oregon can win an Iowa game.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to see. We're not going to see the Oregon game. You're not going to see Oregon scoring 40 points and then Iowa having to catch up and not being able to. I think we're probably going to see an Iowa game, and Oregon's going to have to gut it out.
I think basically what you're saying is are you going to wake up on Saturday, look at the ESPN game track if you're not watching it and see 7-3, or are you going to see 14-3? And I think that'll tell you the.
Yeah, if Oregon's up 14-3, guess what? Oregon's going to win it like 37-20.
Yeah.
But if Iowa drags Oregon into an Iowa game, and I think that's what's going to happen, then Oregon's just going to have to figure out how to make plays on the ground. Do not let Iowa beat you in with a special teams play. Like, just be careful where you punt. Just to say it that way. Punt out of bounds.
Yeah. But I can't wait to watch the game, Andy.
It is going to be spectacular. One of those classic Big Ten matchups that I'm sure everybody dreamed of when it was called the Western Conference in 1909. It's Oregon, Iowa State. It's Oregon, Iowa in the Big Ten. Yeah. I love it. But this is a playoff contender game. Iowa's trying to stay alive. Oregon's trying to cruise on to the playoff. And guess what? If Iowa can win this game, that picture gets a lot more interesting.